Hey everyone, welcome to the Matt Report, your home for WordPress startup entrepreneurs, designers, developers, people who are running their business using WordPress at the core, as a side product, as just a tool to get their business off the ground. Today we're talking to Amure Pinho, CEO of Blogo. It's going to be a really interesting conversation coming from the startup world in Brazil, in America, launching a product on the App Store specifically for WordPress. We're going to learn about all the types of things that he's getting into. If this is your first time listening to the show, where the heck have you been? It's the #1 WordPress business podcast on the web. There's only 2, so I'll take the #1 spot. And you can find out more at mattreport.com, and you can join the mailing list at mattreport.com/subscribe. This episode is brought to you by conductorplugin.com. It's the simplest way to display your content, especially content from your Blogo app, on your WordPress site, be it the homepage or any blog archive page. You can check that out, conductorplugin.com. No code required to build your complex or simple WordPress homepages. So, Maury, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Matt.
So you're doing a lot, and we've got a limited amount of time. But how did you end up building Blogo or building a product around WordPress? Why WordPress, and why this app?
So I've always been a blogger. I've always wrote a lot of articles, but also all my websites in my life, it was all WordPress based. So it wasn't actually a coincidence, because as a blogger, we always work with WordPress, and it was I was actually a Blogo 1 user. So Blogo was released in 2008. And at that time, I was writing for some tech magazines, and I used Blogo to help me out, with the text. So 4 years later, I've just I was invited to a place, to a party, to an accelerator party, and I was talking with a guy that introduced himself as the founder of Blogo. And I said, "Come on, you're the guy that created the software that I used 4 years ago." And he said, "Yeah, nice to meet you." And we started talking, and my question was, okay, so as a blogger, I really miss this, and what does it have a Blogo 2, or why did it not continue to do that? And he explained to me that he was exactly looking for new co-founders, new partners, to start it from scratch, to start a new version, and that was exactly the moment that I was looking for. And we started working together. We created Blogo. We started a new team, and a new positioning, a new vision about the product, and here we are. So it was a user to founder coincidence. It was a good story.
That's awesome. So just to give the listeners some context, you have been helping startups from all the way from angel investing to mentoring and consulting. And that's sort of your side. That's your superpower that you're bringing to the table, to Blogo. What was Blogo like? What was the company like, if at all, in existence before you sort of took over the CEO role? In other words, what did you have to do to get Blogo sort of off the ground and up and running again?
You got it. You totally got it. So Blogo was a great product in the past, but it was created by an indie company. It was like 2 guys creating a very good software, passionate about it. And the thing that I'm bringing to the team now is exactly the whole startup background. So having experience with investors, having experience in how to connect with good partners and creating something bigger, I think that was the kind of adrenaline that the product was needing at that time. For the past 5 years, I've helped startups raising money, finding product market fit, creating MVPs, and understanding from a customer perspective what is the real problem, the real pain that we need to solve. And when I started working with the Blogo original founder, Ivan, I totally understand what was the problem at that time, and the problem was it was necessary to have someone with not just a product vision, because he has the product vision behind it, but also a biz dev vision, a marketing vision, and that was exactly the thing that I'm good on it. So I decided to join the team and decided to accept that. So I invited my other partner, Renan, to be the CDO. And from that time, it was like 12 or 13 months ago, we created a very solid team, One amazing guy for product and experience, one amazing IT guy with deep knowledge about, creating codes and creating products for WordPress, and also myself running the business side. So that was the background.
That's awesome. Is Blogo still bootstrapped and organically funded, or have you gone and raised some angel to first series of rounds of investment?
It was really important to not die because of lack of money, and a lot of startups suffer from this. They start a very good idea, but when they keep going, from the time that it takes to create a product, you need to pay your bills. You need to Ivan, for example, he has a beautiful child, so there's a lot of expense on a daily life, and I knew that. And the first movement after signing up with Blogo team was to raise an angel investment money. So we raised about $100K. It was just a little bit of money, but it was exactly what we need for the next 12 months. So we could create a product without being worried about the cash flow problem. And this is very basic stuff for startups, in my opinion. Of course, we love the garage thing, and bootstrapping, but sometimes you need to have like 6-9 months for product development, for business development, and the angel money really helps in that specific situation.
A lot of the listeners and viewers of the Matt Report are either designers or developers, even marketers in the WordPress space, and they are sort of organically bootstrapping their product, whatever that might be, by doing client services. So during the day, they're freelancers. They're not chained to a sort of a corporate desk. They've got their own business, but they're servicing clients in order to bootstrap their product. Any words of advice for those people who are actually having to spend the day to do the work to reinvest into their product? Any advice for them? Should they just say, kill off the client work and just go get angel investment? Is it that easy?
No, it's not that easy. And I'm a bootstrap guy, and I totally respect and admire people who does that. In my opinion, it's very difficult to have two separate lives. The first one, the one that you have the customers, your clients, the service thing, and a lot of people are very good doing that. And believe me, a lot of people would pay a lot for to have employees like this. But there's the kind of dream, the kind of vision that entrepreneurs always want to achieve, and that's when they decide to work on their own project. And the fact is, I really believe that it's necessary to have 100% focus when it's about creating your own company, creating your own business, because there's a lot of things that goes around and a lot of things that will not help you achieving it. So if you don't have the necessary focus, if you don't give them attention, you will not be able to pivot when you face a problem. You will not be able to quickly respond when you face a challenge, because you will probably doing some service for someone. So the problem behind it is that when you have two dogs to watch, probably one will be starving sometime. That's the main issue. But I totally understand that sometimes it's necessary for you to do that, because the initial moment, the MVP thing, to talk to investors, to talk to angel investors, it's always good when you have something to show them. And how can you do that without money? You do that by selling service. So there's a trade-off you need to always think about. Should I focus 100% on my own company, or should I stay low profile, building the product. But come on, don't be afraid of asking money to investors. Don't be afraid to show your idea. When you have a minimum viable product that really solves a problem, go for them, ask for their money, for their advice, and remember that it's not a 1 week or 1 month running thing. It's much more like a marathon. So you need to talk like prior, 3 months prior, 6 months prior, so the investors could check what your improvements and how you're performing. And that's the main thing behind it. A lot of people think that you just need to go to an angel, show your product, and they will sign a check. Yep. That's not going to work. The way it works is by follow-up, showing results, showing that you are a guy that will be able to face challenge and be good doing that.
When you first picked up the CEO hat for Blogo, did you bring Blogo at that current version and sort of show it to angel investors and they said, no, this isn't ready yet? Did you have that experience?
It was a different situation, because as an angel investor, I was really close to the other angels. So when we decided doing that, I actually invested like 35,000 reais. It was about $20,000. So we could have like 3 or 4 months before showing to the angel investors. So we really run on that, so we could create an alpha version of Blogo. And after 4 months, we had a very good alpha version. And I've created, I had a very, very crazy idea called Blogo Day. So Blogo Day would be a day full of music, good food, good people, and angel investors. So everyone could see what was Blogo at that moment. And I invited about 20 angel investors to a friend's house, and we actually created a very good Blogo experience behind it. So everybody got T-shirts, stickers, and it was all purple because that's the color of Blogo. And I've started a keynote talking in English and presenting them what was Blogo about and what was our plans. And at the end of that presentation, I've showed how much money we were asking for them. And next day we got 4 investors. So it was in some way I started to understand how the angel investors' mind was thinking about it, and they were thinking about having a good team, having 100% focus, and the vision about creating a global product. That was the main deal that made the investors invest on us after that.
That's an awesome idea. I just wrote that down because I could really use a conductor day for my plug-in conductor.
Absolutely.
So I certainly jotted that down. One of the things that I find interesting, and I talk to a lot of other startup folks that are out in Silicon Valley, or I'll watch shows like This Week in Startups with Jason Calacanis, and WordPress sort of gets like, they look at it and like, yeah, if you're Matt Mullenweg, we'll talk to you about WordPress, but if you're not, WordPress is not really interesting to us. What's your experience talking about WordPress to investors out in Silicon Valley or California or wherever? Is there a sort of a stigma to WordPress and angel investors or investments in general?
Yeah, I think there's a stigma, and I don't see that with WordPress, but I see that with blogging. It's always difficult to talk with angel investors or VCs when it's about blogging, because after social media, the whole blogging thing became a little less popular than it used to be. But what I always say to them is that probably the word blogging, indeed, it was a long-term word. We have heard of them like 12, 15 years ago, but the content is still the king of all the internet. So when you create very good content, when we think about content creators, when you think about all the platforms that are rising now, you really show them the big picture, and the big picture is that more than 25 or 22% of whole internet are based on WordPress and CMS. And when they face it and they see the numbers, you cannot not you just agree with that, because there are large numbers, and WordPress is the biggest one after all. So uh, I think that angel investors, as human beings, they always will have their favorite, markets, the preferred types of investment. But there's nothing like good traction. There's nothing like good product, and nothing like customers talking about you. So
Yeah.
when you show that to them, they totally agree with you, because they say, okay, probably I don't know so much about that kind of market, but your users are showing me that you have traction, that you can make money, and that this is a big market. So yes, that's true, but we also have those important tools and numbers to show to them.
Yeah, I also think, and of course, I'm in WordPress every single day, so you and I are sort of both biased to this, and I guess everybody listening to this is sort of biased to this. But WordPress, to me, is sort of that last safe haven for your content. While we spend all this time giving Facebook and Twitter and all these other platforms our content for them to monetize, a self-hosted WordPress website with your blog posts on it, it's your content. Right, and unless the ISP takes it away from you, this is your stuff, and to me that is kind of attractive in today's, Prism-like world where there's all this stuff being scraped up from you. You might as well own this content, right?
Absolutely, and
at least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and there's one more thing, because social media is good, it's important, and the way that the content is spread over there is amazing, but when you want people to really give attention to you, when you want people to really focus on what you are writing, there's no such a network that will do that for you. It's all about your content, your text, your blog, your page. So that's the main deal for me. Having a blog, having a WordPress is much more it's much more having your website, having your words there, having your thoughts, and people cannot follow you every day, every moment on your social network, but they can go to your website, see the past article that you wrote, and understand what you think about it. So that's the main deal for me.
Yeah. So what I've heard so far from launching a product is, even if you are that person who's sort of freelancing and bootstrapping your product by doing client services, you can still manage to get by and build an MVP, make the right connections with somebody, like an investor or maybe even a partner, to help elevate or escalate your growth. You, during the pre-interview with Lisa, you talked about partnering with Evernote. How did that come about? How did you make that connection with such a prominent partner?
So when we started creating Blogo, we were passionate about the product, and we started to interview and to interact with our users. We released a beta program, and we started to gather 50, 100, 200%, 200 users, and as doing customer development, we always try to be some kind of anthropologist. So we try to be hidden, behind them, seeing then how they use it. And a lot of users, not just one or two, but a lot of them use Evernote as their second brain, actually, as a vault, as a note-taking app, but not just a note-taking app, but also as a draft repository. So they were using Evernote to take ideas, to take note of ideas, to when they saw something that inspired them, they just used a smartphone and they unlock everything and then started to write that right away on Evernote. And I was an Evernote user too. I'm the kind of user that has 55 notebooks and more than 5,000 notes. And I wasn't using Evernote for my blogging purpose. And when I saw this, I just realized, come on, where I'm using it. And I was just having the ideas inside my head and trying to to hold it until I get to my computer. And that wasn't a very good idea because I always lost information doing that. So we decided to use Evernote as one of the main stages of a blogging workflow that's collecting ideas. So we realized that there are a lot of stage prior to publishing the article, publishing something to the web. And the first stage is about collecting ideas, brainstorming, looking for information that you already collected in the past. And Evernote is all about that. So that was it was because of the users that we integrated with them. And when we tried to show to the Evernote guys what we were creating, they were amazed. And they say, whoa, we really love that, because our users are bloggers. We do have hundreds of thousands of users that has WordPress websites, and it would be amazing if you could talk to us more deeply about how the integration would work, because we really want to help you guys doing that. And that was the basic stuff behind it.
That's awesome. One of the first plugins we actually ever developed at our studio, I don't even remember, 4 years ago now, was when Evernote made their affiliate program active, and we had built a plugin for that and for saving the Evernote button. But back then, Evernote was a totally different company. It's probably 100x more valuable than it was back then. So did you just email them and say, hey, check this out? Or did you have like sort of an inside scoop to get to somebody to get their attention?
Yes, it wasn't a cold email at all. We attended on TechCrunch last year here in San Francisco. So we were there showing our products, and there was a time that a guy called Needleman was passing. Follow him and always follow his tweets and blogs about entrepreneurship, about startups. And I just grabbed his hand and I say, Rafa, you need to come to our booth. You need to see what we are creating here. And he just came in and we started talking. And then I saw that he was an Evernote employee. And I asked him, come on, so do you work for Evernote? We really want to talk to you guys. And together with like 4 or 5 Brazilians, entrepreneurs from Brazil, we visit Evernote headquarters. So it was much more a fan connection, a user connection, than a business partnership one. And then we start to get more close, we get connected. And after doing that, we've always tried to help Evernote in Brazil. We've always invited them to go to Brazil to visit our workspace. And the next time they were there, we showed Blogo. So it all started as a user thing. It all started as a fan. But we in some way we escalated that level of partnership. But it wasn't a cold email. But I'm pretty sure, and I can tell you for all the people that are listening to your show, that if you send an email to Evernote partners, they will definitely show you the roadmaps to be connected with them. They are really open to developers. They are really open with their API support and approved. And you can see that as the many products that has Evernote connection, and they really support that, and they believe that creating a very good relationship with developers, the product will be bigger, will be more connected, and that's the real thing. Evernote is really well connected. Yesterday I went to the Apple Store to see the product and to see a couple of different things, and I've noticed that more than 40% of all products in the walls has the Evernote logo with the sign "Works with Evernote." And then I saw, come on, they created so much connected product, that even special pens, handwriting tools are connected with Evernote now. So I was amazed by that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about this story was that you're sort of not afraid to make those connections. Like, you can be on the floor of TechCrunch, Disrupt, and say, hey, come over here and check out my booth, because you have to make it happen, right? You can't
Yes.
just sit there and hope that people are going to stroll on by and they'll grab your card and maybe you'll talk to them again.
Yeah.
No, you're out there, you're making the connection, you're pulling them back in. The second thing is you're making these connections for other partnerships, but you're bringing value to the table. So it's like, I can help you down in Brazil. Here's some inside information that might help, and here's how I can get you connected
Absolutely.
with people out there. That's so important because I get cold emails all the time. Lisa and I were just talking about this prior to the show. So I get emails all the time like, can you promote me? Can you do this for me? End of conversation. It's like, dude, what are you going to do for me, right? Like, I can help you, but what are you going to do to help me? Like, let's make it a two-way street. So that's awesome. That's great. One of the things that I'm also interested in knowing about your entrepreneur and startup experience is what's the difference between sort of U.S. entrepreneurship, startup, Silicon Valley versus international, and maybe specifically in Brazil, like HBO has Silicon Valley show. Is it really that fun and exciting, or is it harder than it looks? And what's the differences between us and maybe international?
Okay, so just to give you an idea of I totally got you mean people sending you emails about asking favors, and I have one quote to share with you guys. I received an email from a guy that I really respect and admire. It's called Hiten Shah. He's the co-founder of oh my gosh, the name is Kissmetrics and Crazy Egg.
Crazy Egg.
And he's also an advisor of WordPress. And from the first mail that I got from him, there was a tagline saying, "You get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want." This is a Zig Ziglar quote, and this actually means a lot for me. And probably that was the thing that you've mentioned. When you try to help somebody, when you try to help someone to achieving their, and they will try to make the same for you. And so that's a good thing for people that just flood you with all asking emails. So come on, guys, try to add some value behind it, And about Brazil and the United States, there's a huge gap between the startup scene that we have there and the whole ecosystem that I can see now in San Francisco. So first of all, we don't have that amount of money on the table, and this is really strong and probably one of the main points about our ecosystem, because we do love to copy and paste what we see here in the United States. That's what happens around the world. So we see apps like Instagram and Snapchat, Facebook, Google, all the things that we know, and we try to do the same in Brazil. And we also use the same excuse. For example, we don't need to monetize now because we'll have 1 billion users and we'll get a lot of money doing that, But the reality is that we don't have that kind of money in Brazil. So even if you have 50,000 users, 100 users, you will start to die because you're not getting any money, because angel investors or VCs in Brazil, they don't have the same amount of money to give that to you, so you can stay like 1, 2, 3 years trying to find a product market fit. So the main reality would be for Brazilian companies that it needs to make money from day one. It needs to be profitable. It needs to be something focused on Brazilian market, and not just creating something that is cool, but it doesn't solve anyone's problem. And this is not a critic about the Brazilian entrepreneurs ecosystem. This is not a complaint about it. This is just a fact that we are like 3 or 4 or 5 years behind the maturity of our ecosystem, and this is totally normal. There are a lot of companies that are doing very well, a lot of companies that raise a lot of money, but we do have tons of entrepreneurs that are looking for their opportunity to create their own business. And we do have some very good initiatives from the government. For example, we have the most famous one is called Startup Brazil, and it's run by a guy that I really admire called Felipe Matos. He's one of the best startup guys in Brazil. He's doing that for the past 10 years. And the program, Startup Brazil, gives 200,000 reais. It's about $100,000 to every company, to 40 companies each semester, so they could join Accelerator, and then creating the product, and then pay their team salaries, survive for at least 12 months, so the product gets a little more grown up. And that's the kind of support that we have there that is important, because we do love startups. We do love lean startup. We know how to build, measure, and learn. We want to create our MVPs. We know all this. But the fact that you don't have enough money to keeping you away from service, to keep you away from doing business that is not your main focus, doesn't help at all the ecosystem. And the money that those separate programs are given to the entrepreneurs, and there's no one or two, probably like 4 or 5 programs that gives money to entrepreneurs without equity. This is really important to mention. Some of them really gives you money without equity. Some of them ask for equity partnership, and this is really important so people can build their teams, create their ideas, and validate what they're trying to do. So we do have a lot of difference, and still San Francisco and the United States are the Disneyland of entrepreneurs. But for all the Brazilians and all the people that lives outside here, I would recommend to try to create something with traction. Try to create something based on reality, and not just copying. And don't create just like copycat things. Work for your own business model and try to do that inside your country, because especially in Brazil, we have a big market over there, so that's the main difference between two countries.
That's a great analysis, great breakdown. One of the things that you continuously repeat here in this interview is you have to start selling your product. You have to start making money from day one. And I think a lot of that copycat syndrome that you talked about happens right here in the typical WordPress space, where the designer is out there and he's saying, you know what, he or she is saying, I want to launch my own WordPress theme, and I'm going to sell it for $40, and I'm going to make millions like some of the 7-figure theme forest people are making. And they just put out their product and it's $40, and they could never make money fast enough to just quit the day job, right? The day job of freelancing. And I get contact forms all the time from these folks, and I say partner with another theme shop, like right off the bat. Just get some equity in that theme or the theme sales, and just go partner with the shop, because they've already been doing it. They've already built a list. You don't understand how long it's going to take you to build a list and recurring revenue that's going to support this. I mean, unless you just built something so amazing that it just starts flying off the shelves, and that's 1 out of a million, right, for that to happen.
Yeah. What I always try to emphasize with entrepreneurs is sometimes it's difficult when you don't have a very specific niche. So it's always good to have a niche. So if you are developing a new team, if you're developing a new plugin, try to see from the user's perspective. So who has that kind of problem, and is it easy to find solutions for that problem, or you're creating a totally brand new solution for that user? So what I mean is, it's easier if you find a niche, if you go specific, because you'll be able to talk more deeply with that kind of user, and you will be able to understand the real problem behind it. So when we started Blogo, there's a lot of people that always talk to us, come on, go to the content management system battle, talk about how you can manage websites, and install plugins and do a lot of crazy stuff. And I say, yeah, I know that the bigger picture is all about, supporting all CMS and creating a published tool and not a blogger tool. But when I'm talking to bloggers, when I see that nobody are actually are creating a tool for them, like we are, so we have a niche, we have passion, we have people that actually makes their own money from that. So we understood that, and it's much more easier to talk to them than just create a tool for everyone.
Yeah.
So instead of creating something for everyone, instead of creating something that will not solve people's problem, try to find a specific niche and work on that, because they will follow you, they will support you, they will see that you are creating something for them. And when they get that identification, it cannot be broken. Even if someone releases a new app or a new solution, because you are connected, and that's the main thing that I was trying to pursue.
I want to. We're going over time, but to heck with time, right? Because this is such an awesome conversation, right? I know Lisa's in the background saying, no, we have to stick to 35 minutes. That's what you wanted, but sorry, Lisa. One of the things that you brought up is that these bloggers they're making living blogging. They're charging folks to, maybe ghost blog on their sites, or they're doing content creation for folks, and they might be using Blogo to connect to WordPress sites and creating those blog posts. How did you end up with your price point? And I don't want to mess this up. I think I paid $15 for the app when I bought it in the App Store. How did you arrive at that price? Did you look at did some market research to see how much ghost bloggers were getting per blog post, and you kind of did some kind of value research? How did you end up at your price?
So it was a mix of some different things. So the first of all, Blogo One cost $25. So we tried to be on the same price range that we were using before. The second thing was about our competitors. So we do have a lot of competitors, and some of them are really, really cool. Our benchmark for when we started Blogo is a software called Mars Edit, and he's created by a very, very funny and respect guy, Daniel Jalkut, and they charge $39. And now, so there's a lot of good markdown editors like Ulysses and Bywords that actually works with the same price range, like $15, $25, $35. What we try to create here is a Mac premium. It's a premium Mac app, and by premium, and meaning that's a niche product, we do have to charge a little bit more so we can have focus on that specific segment. When you are focusing, when you are trying to work with a specific segment of users, it means that you will not have a lot of thousands of users. So you naturally need to be more premium and charge a little bit, because you are doing that specific for that user. So it was $30, $30. It was the price range we found to be good enough, not so expensive, so people would buy it. And come on, it's not a subscription model, so once you buy it, you have it forever. So it's not the kind of thing that you pay like $30 every month. It's just once. And we released that on the Mac App Store with a 50% discount. So until the end of Evernote conference, we're still doing 50% off. So that was a good solution for all the Blogo One users that were supporting us, for all the beta users that were looking for our product. So we released with 50% off. You bought it with the discount also. And we really believe that that's a good price for a product that will be your all-in-one tool, your all-in-one Swiss knife, and that worth, $30. It's a good price.
So I just want to make sure I got the strategy down correctly. When you launched it, it was $30 in the App Store. Then when the Evernote conference came along, you offered the 50% off. Are you going to continue the 50% off, or are you going to let it go back to sort of the retail rate of 30%, or $30?
Yeah, we actually released with the 50% off.
Okay.
And we did that to all the beta users and all the old Blogo One users. It was supposed to stop it until we received the Evernote conference nominee news about that we were going to be pitching on Evernote conference. So we've had a little bit talking, we had a meeting, and we decided to keep doing the 50% off until the end of the conference. And why? Because it is really helping us spread the program. It really helping us to find more users. And also, we really believe that if we are getting a lot of success, I mean, going to Evernote, going to TechCrunch, being featured by Apple, that's because it's working. So if it's really working, we should keep it. And probably until the end of the conference, that will be the price, $15, $14.99.
Very nice, very nice. So it will remain at that price.
Yes, until the end of the conference. Yes. So you have all the users have about 10 or 12 days to do that. But of course, this will be something that we will be always trying to do. You know, imagine that we release a new version of the software, and there's a important event like Blogo 1 year after release. You know, like Blogo anniversary. Of course, we'll try to create something for the users, and we'll be offering another discount. Probably not the 50% off, but something like 30% or an idea between 30 and 25%.
That's awesome. Well, I got one last question before we wrap up. I noticed that you mentioned things like you want to be premium. Looking at your website versus some of the competition, your website looks gorgeous compared to others. One thing that made it really easy for me to connect with you is you have a press kit that I can download, and I can get all the details there. Does this come from the experience of working with other startups in the past, or do you have a focus on design? Like, how did you know that design has to be super polished and things like press kits have to be better or available? How did you get to this point?
Yeah, it's we have a very good team behind the product, and Ivan's the original founder of Blogo, and he's such a design-focused guy. His name is Ivan, and I always joke with him, call he's Johnny Ivan with an because he loves those elliptical forms. He loves to create Apple products, and he's the guy that thinks about less is more. He's such an Apple fan of Apple, and all the culture behind it. Also, Giselle is our community manager, also a beautiful girl, and she knows a lot about copywriting. She knows a lot about writing stuff, writing good stuff. She was a blogger in the past, and together, Ivan and Giselle and I, we have that marketing vision that creates that always aim to be good design, to be direct information, to be straightforward, and also to offer exactly what kind of information that you need when you need it. So there's not about putting everything in one place, but about putting the right things when you need it. And that's all about Blogo, and that's all about what Ivan's mind behind, and Giselle also. So from my perspective, I'm just the biz dev and the CEO, and Renan is always the CDO. We are the guys that give, we trust so much on our team. So Renan does a very good job doing the technical stuff. I try to do a very good job on the business side and marketing stuff. But Giselle and Ivan, they are like crazy guys about design, about creating good experience. So we really trust on our team.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome advice, and obviously it's working out. It's working out really well. Okay, fine. One final question.
I'm here.
What is the future for the product? What is your next step as the CEO bringing the product forward?
That's a good question. I always joke with my friends that when you want to face when you go to a meeting face to face to entrepreneur, you allow him to keep talking and keep doing the good question. But when you want to take this, when you want to really go deep, you ask, what's next?
Yeah.
And for Blogo, the next step will be, so we need to localize our software for all the language that are downloading Blogo now. So we do have a lot of users from Germany. We do have a lot of users in Brazil. So we need to translate our software to them. The second would be creating an iPad version of Blogo, because we really understand that the blogger, the content creator, use the desktop to create things, but they also use the iPad, the iOS, the Android to keep updated, to answer comments, to see the numbers after publishing it. So we really want to create the portable version of Blogo, the iPad, the iOS, the Android, and so. After that, we do need to support more platforms. For example, Squarespace, Ghost, and Tumblr and Blogger, for example. There's a lot of content creators that have a Tumblr for personal website and also a WordPress for making business. So we do want to allow them to connect all blogs. Our vision behind blogs is you will not need to use the browser again. So we'll just need one software so you can manage everything. We even make fun of it, you know, one app to rule them all, just like the Ring, so
yep.
From the movies. But what we really believe of next steps would be going to other countries, translate the software, creating the iPad and iOS version, connecting with more platforms, and for sure creating a Yosemite-ready version, so people that will be able to use Yosemite, they will be able to have a 100% compatible software with that, and that's the main picture behind it. I think we do have like 6 to 12 months of roadmap, a lot of bugs to fix. We know that there's a lot of things to do in the software. It's doing very well, but we do have a lot of things to do. And just like we did with Evernote, we are creating new partnerships with tools and services that all content creators use. For example, buffer integration, get image integration, and all the basic stuff that a content creator needs to manage his blog. So we are creating very good ideas. So in the future, or maybe 2 years, we're going to be also providing the users a way to create a WordPress blog from scratch after installing Blogo. So for example, imagine like in 2 years or 1 year and a half, you download Blogo because you really feel that's the best way to manage everything, to write posts, and we're going to ask you, so what do you want to do? You want to connect with your already existing WordPress, or you want to create one from scratch? And you'll be able to create that from Blogo. So we want to create a, how can I say, one-stop shop for content creators. And in that tool, it will be all available for you to start writing, because we really believe that what content creators love is writing, having ideas, sharing ideas, and receiving feedbacks, and not wasting time in infrastructure, buying domains, and doing all the crazy stuff and technical stuff that people need to do. They want to be creative. They want to have more time. They want to have a coffee and writing good things. You know, that's exactly the dream that I have.
Absolutely. Listen, that was answered by, you know, the perfect CEO biz dev answer. It went 7.5 minutes, right? And I probably would have answered the same way as you, full of passion, full of vision. It's awesome stuff. Amure, this has been an amazing interview. The product is awesome. I love it. I use it. Where can folks find you on the web to check it out, to buy it, to pay full price for it? Let us know.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here, and thank you. And I'm so sorry for not having the perfect English here. I'm a Brazilian guy. I'm trying to improve that also. But come on, it was a great time. You guys are perfect. You know, I really enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Lisa, also. The whole team behind Mad Report. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Folks, you can go ahead and check out this product. You can search for it in the App Store in iTunes. Go ahead and type in probably just Blogo, and it'll show up, little pencil icon. Getblogo.com. You can get that. Are you on Twitter as well? Can folks find you on Twitter to follow you?
Yes, Get Blogo.
That's awesome. Go ahead and check out Get Blogo. Again, amazing interview, great advice for startups and entrepreneurs. Yeah, I can't thank you enough, folks. This show brought to you by Conductor Plugin. Go ahead and check out conductorplugin.com for all of your non-coding ability to display all the content that you're creating in Blogo, putting on your WordPress site. Go ahead and check that out, conductorplugin.com. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.